Let's be real, if you've spent any time online lately, you've heard about AI. It's everywhere. But behind all the buzz and all the hype, what is a large language model, actually? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and really understand the tech that's kind of changing everything.
We throw these names around all the time, right? ChatGPT, Claude, Llama, and they can feel like a bit of magic. You type something in and poof, a perfect answer just appears. So for this explainer, we're going to crack open that black box and see what's actually making it all tick.
Okay, so at its absolute core, an LLM is a super sophisticated pattern matching machine. It's not thinking, it's not feeling. It has just ingested an unbelievable amount of text, like a huge chunk of the internet, and has gotten incredibly good at recognizing the statistical patterns in how we write and speak. That's what lets it generate language that feels so human.
Now, that first word, large, is the key. It's not just a casual adjective, it's pointing to three specific and honestly kind of mind-blowing areas of scale. So let's break down what really puts the large in large language model.
First up, parameters. You can think of parameters as being kind of like the model's brain cells. They're the knobs and dials that store all the patterns it's learned, and the number is just staggering. GPT-4 is rumored to have somewhere in the neighborhood of 1.7 trillion of them. Trillion! That's the first pillar of scale, just the raw size of its brain.
The second pillar is the data it learns from. These models see text broken down into little pieces called tokens. Think of them as syllables or parts of words. Llama 3 was trained on 15 trillion tokens. That is an almost incomprehensible amount of information. It's like having it read pretty much the entire internet, plus millions of books, multiple times.
And the third pillar? Well, it's the raw computational muscle and the cash required to pull this off. We're talking about massive data centers full of thousands of specialized computer chips running nonstop for months. The estimated cost just to train one GPT-3 class model was around $12 million. So when we say large, we mean large parameters, large data, and a very, very large budget.
Okay, so you have this unbelievably massive thing. How does it actually learn? Well, the core idea is surprisingly simple and is something you probably use every day. You can really think of the whole thing as the world's most sophisticated autocomplete.
This is it. This is the fundamental game it plays. Trillions and trillions of times. The model gets a piece of a sentence like the cat sat on the, and its only job, its entire purpose in life is to guess the next word. It crunches the probabilities for every word it knows and then predicts the most likely one. In this case, Matt. That's it. That's the core task.
And this is where the magic happens. You might be thinking, that sounds way too simple, but think about it. To get really good at just guessing the next word, the model is forced to learn everything else. It has to implicitly understand grammar, facts about the world, context, nuance, style. All of these incredible abilities just emerge from that one simple goal of being a really, really good guesser.
Now, this whole process creates a tool with some truly amazing abilities. But, and this is a huge but, it also bakes in some very specific and very critical flaws. To use these things well, you absolutely have to understand both sides of that coin.
On the one hand, LLMs are brilliant. They can write code, summarize a dense report in seconds, translate languages instantly, tasks that depend on recognizing complex patterns. But on the other hand, they have these massive blind spots. They hallucinate, which is a fancy word for make stuff up, their knowledge is frozen in time, and they can soak up all the biases from the human data they were trained on.
Let's just double-click on that word hallucination, because this is probably the biggest catch you need to be aware of. This is when the model will state something that is completely, totally false, but it says it with all the confidence of a college professor. It's not lying, it just doesn't know that it's wrong. Remember, its goal is to sound plausible, not necessarily to be truthful, and that is a huge difference.
Right, so with all that in mind, how they work, what they're good at, and where they fail, how do you navigate the actual landscape of AI today? It seems complicated, but it pretty much boils down to a few major players and one big choice you have to make.
Here's a quick cheat sheet. You've got your heavy hitters like OpenAI's GPT-4, which is a beast at complex multi-step thinking. Then you have Anthropic's Claude 3, which is amazing at chewing through and analyzing huge documents. And then you have open models like Meta's Llama 3, which are great because you can actually run them on your own machines, giving you way more control. The big takeaway here is that these are different tools for different jobs.
And that leads to the fundamental choice that everyone building with AI has to make: open versus closed. Using a closed model is like streaming a movie. It's super easy, you get the highest quality, but you're using their service. Using an open model is like owning the Blu-ray. You have total control, it's private, but you've got to have the hardware to run it. It's the classic trade-off, convenience versus control.
So, as we start to wrap this up, what's the single most important thing to remember? It's this. LLMs are not magic. They aren't conscious. They are powerful, yes, but they are also deeply flawed mirrors, simply reflecting the vast, messy, beautiful, and biased world of human language that we fed them.
And that leaves us with one final thought. The tech is just going to keep getting better and more powerful. That's a given. But maybe the most important question isn't what the technology can do. It's about how we, all of us, choose to build it, to aim it, and to guide what it ultimately becomes. That's the real challenge ahead.